Hi everybody, Witter Quilt 12, block 3. Going to do something slightly different this time. You're going to design your own block, alright? See how we go. I'm going to set you a little challenge and see how you get on. So there's one of mine, because you know I've been doing 2 of each block. So there's the first one, and there's the second one, okay? I could see that one quite easily repeated into a quilt. I think that would be really cool. Well, they both would. Right, so what we're going to do, how are we going to do it? Dead simple. We're aiming for a 12-inch block, okay? So we're going to start off with a 6-inch square. All right, so in effect, if you make whatever this is, if you make it 4 times, you're going to get your 12-inch. All right, your 12-inch block. Now draw yourself a 6-inch square. I'm doing it in hopefully in thick marker and coloured pencil, so that in a minute it will make sense what I'm on about. I want you to draw 3 or 4 different lines across your block anywhere. All right, so that's going to be your design. So I'm going to go for one big one, so we're like that, and then I'm trying to make it similar to those but a bit different again, and then I'm going to do another one there. And then I'm gonna do another one there. So I've just drawn 3 lines, okay? So I've done mine all purposely that they don't sort of come into a point. So actually when you're joining, you haven't got to worry about getting points. The only one you're going to worry about is the main one in the centre, okay? You could have gone crossways, you could, whatever you want, you could do more than that. It's just that I'm very aware that 4 pieces in a square will become 16 in your block. The more you do, the smaller they are, the fiddlier they are, but you do as many as you want. So just random lines, okay? Then you've got to remember that this is our 6-inch finish. So actually we need to add seam allowances, okay? So I'm just gonna paper scissors, no using of fabric scissors on paper, okay? One of my pet hates, otherwise they land up blunt. So I've got my paper scissors going on here, and I'm just chopping it. I'm just going to do one, and then I'll explain how I do it. Now there's a bit of a knack to it, okay? So that is my first piece cut out. Now what I should have said, and I didn't, let me do it now, is actually number your pieces that you think that you need in the order that you think you need to join them together, okay? So number 1, number 2, we'll go to that, and then number 3 will come across the bottom, and then number 4, which is the big one I'm just about to do, will join on the side. Now let me just show you that, okay? So we'll join, get it the right way, which way have I done it? Join 1 to 2, 3 goes across the top, and then 4 comes on. Do that 4 times, put it together, you've got a block, okay? But anyway, we need to add seam allowances. Now this is a little trick that I don't know, I taught myself. When you're doing your templates, if you think back to old-fashioned, we're going to put this together by machine, don't worry. You could do it by hand if you want, but you need to add your 1/4 inch, and you need to turn your piece of template upside down. All right, so another reason why I've got numbers on, because I know that it needs to go down, all right, so that when we put it on the back of our fabric to cut, we know it's okay. Now the white here is a piece of thin card, all right? I'm going to add my seam allowances on here. So what have I done? Where have I put my pen? I don't want a big fat marker pen for this, because otherwise it'll all be a little bit, excuse me, I'm just going to find a pencil. Over here somewhere, I see. Pencil. Okay, right, so in the middle of, get your ruler and your 1/4 inch, okay? Right, so let me pull this back that you can see it. I have a ruler here, right? I've got my ruler, and I'm going to put my 1/4 inch down the side of the red, but on 1/4 inch. So when I draw that line, I've added 1/4 inch. All right, so extend it right past. Now if you're very clever, keep the pressure on your ruler and turn it and line up your next 1/4 inch, and then keep your pressure. If you keep it pressure and flat, not massive pressure, otherwise everything will go a bit ski with, but there we go. So then that allows you to turn without moving the red. Okay, so I'll just do that, put that into place and draw my 1/4 inch. All right, so now I can cut that one out, and that's going to be my cutting template. All right, so you can either draw around it then and cut on the line, or if your cardboard is thick enough and your fingers are nimble enough, you could use a rotary cutter. Let's just get rid of that. All right, but you need to be, whatever you do, you need to be careful, because if you're using a rotary cutter, you don't want to take your fingers off, and you don't want to be cutting the card if you can help it, because otherwise that will blunt off your rotary cutter. Okay, right, so that's that and the bottom one. I do all sorts of weird things like this to get what I need. Right, so now hopefully if I put that one on top of there, you can see that the white is now 1/4 inch bigger. It might seem like a fiddle and a faff, but you've only got 4 pieces, 5 pieces, and you're going to use them several times, so you know that will do. If you came up with a design that you really loved and you want to make a whole quilt, what I would be doing would be sending those pieces to my mate Andy at Crafty UK and asking him to make you a template from acrylic, so that you've got your own personal template to make a whole quilt with. That would be good. Right, so now bearing in mind that's the front, all right, and I'm going to put on here number 4 on the front, so when that's right side up, that's what I'm looking at. Now I'm just going to see if this works. All right, it's just a scrap piece of fabric here, and get in the habit of always putting your templates down. Okay, turn them over down, and then it doesn't matter even if the template was a square that's going to go either way. Get yourself in the habit of always turning it over, and then you know when it comes to it, you'll do it automatically and you shouldn't get any mistakes. So now I've got card going on here. Mind your fingers, just slowly. Always check it comes off in case it hasn't. There we are, and across. Now I'm going to turn that whole thing round, realign my template to shape. Better safe than sorry. And I'll put my rotary down without putting the blade away. That was very naughty. Right, okay, so now we're just going to gently go up the other side. The other thing that would help would be a new blade. Makes life so much simpler. But there we are. It is what it is for today's example. There we go. Let's get rid of that tiny little corner there. Put the blade away. Right, so there's my piece. So that fits that one. So that's got my seam allowance on to prove it. There is that one to show it. Okay. Now, if you do those 4 of each of your different numbers and then put them together, and you've got a 1/4 of your block, so you're going to do it 4 times so that you get a whole block, and then join 1 to 2, 1 to 2, and then 2 to 2. Yeah, does that make sense? What I would say is where you've got quite a few sort of angles, right? Okay, so what do we do with angles? Do not handle them unless you have to. The more you handle this, because it's cut on a bias, the more it's going to stretch and distort. Let me see, can I even distort it? That's on a straighter grain, that's on a, it's this one, look. You can get a real wobble on it. So no handling triangles unless you have to, and certainly no pulling them about, all right? That's the first tip. The second tip, when you're joining 2 together, so say I was joining that one with that one, 2 bits of fabric, not a piece of card. All right, don't forget you will probably have what I call sticky outy pointy bits, ears, all right, each end, and then so that when you stitch it and you turn it back, you're going to have a straight. Says she. Do it that you can actually see it would be good, Abby. Right, so little sticky outy pointy bits, straight, stitch it, turn it back so that you get a nice straight edge at the top and at the bottom. All right, you might need to fiddle around that because it's in effect a new block to you or to anybody, hopefully. Working out what those angles are for turning takes a little minute. So what I do is I lengthen my stitch. So my stitch length is usually at about 3, so that when I have to unpick it, it comes apart really easily. We like that. All right, so do your 4, give it a press, and then trim it. But you should be trimming to 6.5 or thereabouts. If you've got lots of seam joins in one side, sometimes that'll have taken up a little fraction of your fabric. Give it a bit of welly, stretch it back, it will be fine. All right, so then you've got your 4 and you join your 4. Now bearing in mind before you join them, so make all 4 and then twist them around. How do you want them to join? This one I've joined so that actually, oh, it's the one underneath that's getting at me. Let's get rid of that a minute. There we are. So I think actually if you did those in multiple blocks, you'd get an overall design, and I think that would look really cool. I quite like this one, I have to say. This one, I've just turned them so that your central becomes, you know, that bit becomes sort of equal. It's all going in the same direction. You get like a wind. Oh, do you know the brain's gone? Cartwheel. There you go. That will do. Windmill, cartwheel, whatever. So it's going round and round and round. All right. But again, I spent ages playing. Which bit do I want in the middle? Because you've got 4 completely different, depending what side you put together, 4 completely different blocks. It was lovely. Okay. So that is your sort of challenge for Witter Quilt 12 block 3. Okay. So you're going to make up your own design. And there's nothing to say, as I say, that you couldn't do this again and again. I've used three lines. You can use 4, you can use more. It's totally up to you. All right. So there we are. So what else is going on in life? Tom's fast asleep in his bed just here. I'm closing for a week now. Got a week off. All right. So any queries, do shout, because you know me. I don't sleep. I'll pick up the messages in the middle of the night and reply to you. Any orders, please go ahead and order, and I'll get them out to you as soon as I get back. All right, so it's only a few days, honestly. It's only a few days. You'll get them next week, be fine. What else is going on? What else is going on? Newton Abbott quilt show coming up, I believe, next week. That'll be really, really good. Should have been there. Unfortunately, I'm not able to. So the class that I was teaching, Hannah's room is now teaching, so Roxy, my mate, will be teaching instead of me. You'll have just as much fun because she's nuts and she does lovely designs, so that will be good. Other than that, that's about it really. All right, so one thing left to say, be lovely.